My man, Richard, thank you so much for coming on the Winners Paradigm podcast, brother. It was a long time in the making here, so I appreciate you, homie. I seen you in the gym, and I was like, man, I need to go introduce myself because one,
Yeah.
I didn't know we were in the same city, and two, it was cool, seeing you in person, meeting you a couple times, seeing you around, and I'm like, oh shit, is that who I think it is? So thank you for making time in your busy schedule to be here, brother. Two, would you mind giving us a brief intro, who you are, what you're passionate about today, brother?
Of course, man. Well, first of all, thank you, man, for offering me the opportunity just to come on here and speak on your platform as well. So my name is Richard Macias. I own Warpath Fitness, and basically what I'm trying to do is just help other men become better, right? Whether it's a better husband, father, just overall feeling better about themselves, more confident. I deal with a lot of people that struggle with vices because that's something that I really struggled with also. So just all around, man, just really trying to help men level up and become that man that their family needs, and just to build that confidence in themselves because I know how it is to struggle. I know how it is to deal with low confidence issues and, like I said, the vices and everything that comes along with that. And it's not fun, you know what I mean? And it's not something that should be in part of your life whenever you do have a family and stuff like that, brother. So that's what I do, man. I just help a lot of men. We use fitness, nutrition, to obviously build your body up, but also build your mindset as well. Because I'm a big believer in if you create a strong mentality, the body's going to automatically follow that, right? You form discipline, you have this commitment to what you're doing. Guess what? Your body's going to reflect that. So that's a big part of what I do here.
Boom, brother. I love that about you. And that's one thing you're always clear about talking about that, especially when you talk about the pain points of what it was like when you weren't living that, when you weren't aligned. And let's start there, brother. The early times, kind of like that path of what led you onto the not being aligned, and then understanding, at that point of, hey, I need to be better so I can show up better in life and just be that man that I was missing out on.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. I've always, struggled with having this addictive personality. Ever since I was young, I always had this like addictiveness to me where whatever I did or got into, I did it to the fullest. You know what I mean? But that also led into doing the wrong things as well. So me myself, I have to be really mindful as far as what I'm doing, how busy I am, because when I'm not busy, my mind starts to wander like everybody else, and I start to fall off track. So I started, just drinking a lot. That was my biggest thing. Growing up in a family where, everybody's partying, everybody has, family events and stuff like that. It was, innocent at one point, right? It just started me just kind of finishing the rest of my dad's beer, right? And then it's like it turned into more and more as the time went. And so my biggest vice was the drinking, the alcohol part. And I did not like who I was. My family did not like who I was when I was drinking. But going back to that addictive personality, I couldn't stop, right? Even despite my family not liking it, despite me not liking it, for some reason, I still felt like I had to do it. I couldn't, I was out of control basically. I lacked discipline, right? And that's why I was a big boy at one point, 260 pounds. That's what I came to realize was the fact that, dude, I struggle a lot with discipline because not only do I have an alcohol problem, I'm also fat and overweight. That means I can't control the
Yep.
food that I'm having. Obviously, the drinks that I'm consuming. I was a real negative person, hated myself. So my thoughts, I couldn't control them either. So my self talk was really bad. It all came down to that umbrella of lack of discipline. So once I was able to form the discipline through the nutrition, through the training, right, and forming that, doing it every day, that bled into all areas of my life, whether it was the fitness, finances. I started having more money because I had more discipline to not spend what I was making, relationship wise, and then just dropping the drink, man, dropping the vices altogether. I think what helped me with that was just changing my overall outlook and my body as well. And it really showed me, man, I'm making changes with myself. Why do I gotta drink? And like really getting serious with myself, finding that root cause of why do I drink? Why do we do the things that we do? And that takes somebody to really sit down with themselves, sober minded, and really figure that part out, which is really hard. So yeah, brother, that's kind of where I'm at on that.
Yeah, bro. That's one of the things I'm glad you touched up on, because that was something I was going to ask you as well. Was the drinking part, because I
Mhm.
ran into that, and especially now I'm running into it more. And it kind
Yeah.
of goes into it. You talked about the negativity and that mindset of what we're projecting, and also what we're bringing into us. And that happened to me. Multiple conversations I had with people where they're like, "Oh, as Mexicans, we're always drinking, and it's around our family, and blah blah blah." Making excuses, and I'm like, "Nah, I get it. I was the same way. I got up to 235." When I was in the Marine Corps, it was the same fucking thing. I got all cool with all the Mexican guys, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm from Fresno. I grew up with the Mexican side, I didn't grow up the black side. So we're fucking having carne asadas and we're cooking, we're doing all this shit. And again, here goes me doing the dumb shit, being drunk, fucking fighting.
Mhm.
We'd be streaming the UFC fights, boxing, Canelo, just getting drunk. And then all of a sudden we're just fighting, throwing down, and everybody's like laughing at me. And my ass was getting in trouble. And I started just realizing, like,
Yeah.
hey, this isn't leading me to that right direction. And also, what's
Right.
funny is like just me showing up in life wasn't it. Where it was like I was always drunk, thinking negatively, being reactive, going back home. And then I'm like, oh, it's on and popping all the fucking time. And everybody's like, hey, why are you just wilding out all the time? And I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, that's the way it is, handle business. And it was funny, is like, it was always taking me away from myself. So I love that, just because I literally talked to a client the other day, when we are talking about the drinking, and he was like, hey, I haven't dropped the drink yet. I think I can do it at this capacity. And I'm like, no, I don't think you will. And I'm like, it's
Yeah.
about the foundation. We're talking about trainers. And he's like, well, this coach says I can put beers in my macros. And I'm like, yeah, that's all cool and all, but that's not something I'm going to. And when we talk about our programs, it's about building that foundation, creating that mindset, creating that man who's removed from all those things. So that's what I loved about you as well. Is you talk about living it every single day, creating that day. And let's touch on that factor, brother. For the person who's struggling, who thinks that, hey, they can't have their beers while struggling with their own vices, how do they create that day to where they finally understand that, hey, they don't need that, and they're better off showing up as sober, present minded, and better within the current time?
Yeah, I think it's about just really like focusing on why do you drink? That's why I ask a lot of people. And a lot of times what I get is like, or they don't know, you know what I mean? Or it's like something like, well, I've just always done it. They don't really have a true answer for it. It's just a stress reliever for me. Or, it just helps me at the end of the day relax and get ready. I'm like, so, okay, we need to fix why can you not relax on your own? Right? Why are you so stressed out that you need this other substance to help you get through the day? That should be a red flag right there, right? So if we can attack the root cause of why you're drinking and we fix that, that's gonna fix why you're drinking, right? And so a lot of people, man, they struggle with this as far as like they really don't know why they drink. They just been doing it for so long that it's become part of them. And I get that because that was me. I was that guy. I was the drinker. Everybody knew me as the partier, right? And it was like
Yeah.
it became my identity. And going back to what you said, you start messing around, you start, fighting, you start doing all this stuff. People know you as that person. And it's just like, do you really want to be known as that? When people are sitting there at your funeral talking about you, what things do you want them to say about you? Do you want them to say, like, oh, yeah, I remember this one weekend where he got so thrashed, he blacked out and he was just fighting, causing a scene? Or would you rather them say, like, man, he was a good person. He always had a good head on his shoulders. He was committed to his family. He was in shape. Like, this guy did it. He was the perfect example of what it is to be a responsible man. He took care of stuff, right? And so that's what, you can, and I tell my clients the same thing. Listen, if you want to drink, by all means, you're a grown man, but just remember that is going to put a hindrance on your results. So, what do you want more? Would you rather drink or would you rather get in shape and basically become this new guy that you want to be? You know what I mean? That's what you're going to have to come down to. And if you cannot stop drinking for 90 days, 6 months, you got a problem. And a lot of people can't do that, bro. But the thing is, they don't think they have a problem, right? It's just like, well, I just drink on the weekends. I have a couple beers on the weekends with the wife. Okay, cool. So you can't stop that for 90 days, and they just don't want to. So it just comes down to the fact, bro, what do you want? Right? Like you got to buckle down and really look at your life and say, is this serving me? And that's what I ask myself with anything is this going to make me more money? Is this going to make me a better husband, a better father? And is this going to make me look better or more healthier? If the answer is
Mhm.
no, I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? So it's very easy for me to make decisions with my life because I just got to ask myself those four questions, you know?
That's fucking killer advice, bro. And that's why I was laughing while you're saying it, is it's like literally me reliving it. And I literally had that conversation with my old man the other day. He's about 50 now. Homeboy's still wilding out. And that's what he thinks is that identity, you know. And he's like, you don't get it. It was easy for you to drop. And I start fucking laughing. And I'm like, nah, it wasn't. It's just I didn't share that part of the journey. So people didn't know that, especially with him, because it was this machismo shit, hard, all this fuck all the time. We don't talk about our feelings, we don't talk about whatever. If it is, you know, you're drunk as fuck. So it was funny
Yeah.
because that was me. You know, my wife, she went to the Navy. Me and her mom were drinking fucking AMFs, and I was just ordering shots. I threw it at my brother-in-law. I'll stop being a bitch, drink this, and we're wilding out. And then I thought I was gonna start fighting because we were at a pizza place, and I seen somebody. And it was just like me getting in a negative mindset. And it was funny because when I started getting sober and I started talking about these things, especially talking about men, and I'm like, hey, I'm talking to that guy who's on his knees asking God for shit to change, because I visualize the death, like how you're talking about that. You know, I visualize the death and
Mhm.
like, man, you know, and I seen that in a vision where it was like, you know, he had potential, he just didn't put in the fucking work. And then my
Right.
mother-in-law asked me now, every time she sees me, hey, did you get a workout in today? Did you do this? I'm like, yeah, I did burpees this morning. And then I was bitching because we went home and I couldn't get a gym membership over there because there's no 24-hour gyms. So I'm fucking doing burpees in the background, in the backyard. My swagger had like 30-pound dumbbells and I'm doing lunges and like, how many did you do? I'm like 400 this morning, 400 squats, 400 burpees. And they're like, why are you doing that? I'm like, oh, just mentally to stay sound. Not even that I want to work out,
Right.
just mentally, it's going to lead back to the vices, whatever, because we're going to get stressed out. And if you can't self regulate, that's it, you know? So I was having that conversation with the old man and I start telling him about these things. And he's like, wow, like, you don't know. And then he brings up the Mexican card again, you know? Oh, well, growing up, I seen my tios. I'm like, bro, my mom drank every fucking day. My stepdad drank every day. My stepdad was racist and would be like, oh, you can't be this, you can't be that. So for me, it was that identity issue. And again, it went into
Right.
what are we? How do we show up? Well, I was the partier, and that's all I ever was, and that's what everybody knew me as since fucking whenever, you know, junior high. And it just led me to bad shit, you know. So I started just tapping on that. And what's funny is like literally Monday, bro. I posted that on my story. I posted that at my best friend's wedding. I got so drunk, I stole my primo's cowboy hat. I put it on. I took his bottle of tequila. I was about to slap the shit out of him because he tried to take it from me. And then I was running around saying they can't catch me. And I literally just talked on that in a post and was just like, hey, this is what it is. I was struggling. It led me, yes, you know, to getting results. I was my own boss at 19. They're like, you're a leader, you're more mature. But in my head, I was like, oh, because I seen this my whole fucking life is if you're a high performer, you can party hard. And it just didn't lead me to that life. So I spoke on that. People were talking and were like, bro, that resonates. And I think that's powerful, you know, is when we start talking about these things like you're doing, brother, is people see that, and that goes into the identity issue. You know, you've talked about a little bit on the results, how we're switching it, but really when it's that identity and switching into who you are, one of the things you talk about is in the nutrition, you know, the ground turkey,
Mhm.
you and the wife always making these meals and sticking to that plan. How important is it for us to have those 1 to 2 go-to meals that you're always posting? And then two, to create that identity where it's like, hey, the reason why my nutrition is so intact is so I can show up better. This is going to lead to everything else in life, whether it's the body transformation, it's the mindset, the discipline, or me just being a better father.
Yeah, no, I mean, nutrition's vital, right? Like, if you're not eating good, you're not going to feel good, bottom line, you know? And I think that's where a lot of people have those issues is the fact that, you know, they're not eating quality food or they're not knowing their specific macros. And that leads into other stuff as well, you know, insecurities. Because I know this firsthand. When I was not eating right, my body did not look right. Therefore, what did I think? Well, I'm already out of shape. What's one beer going to hurt, right? I'll start Monday. You know what I mean? And then it kept going that cycle and cycle. And it just led me to being this unconfident person, all because I just wasn't doing the basic necessities, right? Like we only have control over a few things in life, right? The thoughts we think, the food that we're having, maybe the amount of exercise that we're getting. You know, those are things that we can control. You know, I can control if I eat a donut today or if I choose not to. I can control if I hit a workout today or if not. I can choose to be positive today or negative, right? But I can't control what the government's doing. I can't control the weather, right? So why worry about that stuff? Really focus on what you can control, and that just leads into other stuff. So by you not eating right, that's going to lead you into not thinking right. And then it's going to lead you into looking in the mirror and be like, man, I'm a fat slob. I suck. I'm low confident. I'm just going to drink to remove all this stuff. right? Because that's what I did. I just put a
Mhm.
band-aid over everything without actually taking the time to fix it. So for me, man, when I eat good, I feel good. Therefore, I don't want to drink because it's going to knock me off that course. Because I know damn well if I drink and I have this mean ass hangover on Monday, the rest of my week is messed up because you might drink one day, right? You might drink Saturday, but you get thrashed. You wake up Sunday hungover. Then what do? Well, let me have a few more to get rid of this hangover. And then here comes Monday. You're still hungover, still feel like crap. Now it takes you a couple days just to get back into shape, back into feeling okay. So let's say it's Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday, Thursday comes, and then it's Friday again, ready to party, do the same cycle, right? So you really only feel great 2 days out of the whole seven, all because you chose to drink one day, right? And so that leads with everything with nutrition, everything, man. Like, you choose the food that you're having. If you're not having the right food, it's going to lead into other areas that are also not going to be making the best decisions on what you're doing. So for me, man, I have to have my meals in place. It's just part of who I am now. It's just like it's like brushing my teeth. Okay, I already know I got my 5 meals in the refrigerator. I know this, I know that. I don't got to think about stuff no more. So like my life right now is kind of like on autopilot. Like I have the same routine, the same schedule. I go to the gym at the same exact time. I eat the same foods. I wear the same clothes as far as the colors, black, white, maybe throwing some red here and there. Like I don't need to really think about a lot of stuff, which leads me to focus on what I need to focus on: my family, my health, my business, the stuff that really matters.
Boom, brother. You hit it on the money, and I'm the same exact way. Normally I'm wearing the black shirt, but today I was like, no, this Laker shirt's calling me. So I threw it on, and that's something
There you
I do,
go.
is put it on autopilot as well, where it's the same thing. My wife had the ground chicken, ground turkey mixed, white rice, mixed veggies. I just threw 3 eggs on there, had some protein bread, threw it next to the side, and I was like, I need a little more carbs. We're doing legs today. And it
Hmm.
was funny because I used to not think that way, and it's exactly how
Yeah.
you said you're drinking all weekend. I would start drinking Thursday night because
Hmm.
they would be like, fuck it, somehow would get to work Friday, get done with work, and then I'd get drunk right at 2:30. Sometimes we got out early. That way I couldn't get called back in and then fucking be going all weekend, and then
Yeah.
back where it hits Monday. And don't get me wrong, still got the workout in Saturday, Sunday, but it was dog shit because I was hungover. Then it was
Hmm.
funny is I didn't learn that, 72 hours after you drink, your metabolism's messed up, so it takes that 72 hours to go back to normal. So by the time it's Wednesday, then you're like, oh, I finally got a good workout in. Well, I didn't fucking know that. So I was just leading myself down a destructive path. And it's funny. It's like I was working out 2 times a day. I tore all the cartilage in my right knee, started getting all these injuries with my body. And then I was like, why can't I lose weight? Well, probably because I kept fucking drinking all the time. And then
Yeah.
literally, my wife went to boot camp and it was just ground turkey, rice, vegetables, lunch, and then it was like salmon, rice, broccoli or chicken. Those were my 3 meals a day. And the weight was coming off, but it was again the habits. It wasn't creating that lifestyle. And that's something I started talking about lately. Is like, yeah, it's about the macros, it's about the same meals, but like if you don't change that identity, just like we're talking about, of hey, this is who I am, this is why I do it, this is how I'm better. You can fall back. And that's where I used to be one of those dudes, that would be like, oh, if they get ripped, then they go back to it. Then they blame shit on
Hmm.
injuries or they blame it on whatever. And I started getting stagnated where I wasn't able to squat for like 5 years. So it was just straight machines, free weights, trying to figure out, hey, how am I going to move around this knee injury? Because my shit started locking up, scar tissue was holding me back. And then, got on a program and was like, hey, now I'm squatting. Now I'm not worrying about that. I just focus on what I can do every single day, and again, talks about that mindset component you were talking about, of making everything simple for yourself and then just showing up as that every day. So, next thing here, brother, you're an amazing father, amazing husband. You're always showing that and being clear. How important is it for us to just be present in the moment, especially with our people, man, and giving us exactly, more than what we had?
Man, it's everything, right? Like if you're not fully present with your people, you're going to be missing out on a lot of stuff. And I've talked to a few older people, in their 80s, 70s. I like to study people and ask them questions and figure out, what best advice would you give somebody, at my age, right? You're 80 years old, I'm 35. What would you tell me? Something that you wish somebody told you? And man, everybody says the same stuff. Love your family, really spend time with them, focus on them. Don't worry about all the other stuff. Like family is everything, being present with them, watching your kids grow up because it goes fast, you know. And I got 4 kids, and my oldest is 13 now. And bro, like literally, I still feel like she's a little girl, right? And she's becoming this young lady. And it's just crazy to see the changes that are happening, you know. And it's just like, just to think that I did miss out on a lot of that because I had her when I was 20, my wife was 18, right? So we were still partying, we were still young, figuring stuff out. I missed a lot of her childhood due to being drunk, due to my vices, due to working so much because I had to do this stuff, you know? And so me being fully present has been everything. It's been a game changer because now I get to go to bed at night, like fully knowing that, like, man, I'm in my family's life. You know what I mean? I'm a present father. And going back to when I was bigger and when I was drinking, even though I was with them, sometimes I wasn't present because all I could think about was how I looked, right? How I felt.
Yep.
Where's the nearest gas station so I can grab a beer real quick? And if we are going to a restaurant, do they serve alcohol? Right. So all this time that I was there with my family, bro, I'm over here. Like, let's say, for example, we go to the beach, right? We go to the beach. I'm not thinking about having fun with my kids. I'm not thinking about going swimming. I'm thinking about, damn, look how I look on this beach, fat as hell with these man boobs, right? And I wonder what everybody else is thinking of me. That steals away so much of your time of being present because you're just focused on how you feel and how you look, you know? So even then, I still missed out on a lot, man. So now I make it a priority. And that's why I went full in on my business. I was doing I was working a full-time job while coaching clients. But then I was like, bro, like if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. You know what I mean? Like I said, I have that addictive personality. I can't just sit back and just let stuff go. I have to be fully in there. And that's what I did. I took the risk. I quit my 9 to 5 job and I went full in this coaching thing. It's hard, right? Being an entrepreneur is hard. It's not for everybody, but the freedom that comes with that, being able to take them to school, pick them up, go to their sporting events, be present in their life, that's worth more than anything that I could possibly give. You know, so I ain't a millionaire yet, but I feel, you know, that I'm rich because I get to do that stuff. You know what I mean? Like I feel successful already, but there's more to get, you know, but the fact that I can sit here and be present with them, money can't buy that. You know, you can't buy time, right? Time is gonna go. That's one thing for sure you'll never get back. Right. So being there is definitely where it's at.
Bro, that hit me hard right there. First point, I was at Disneyland the other day because we got passes, so we're always going wherever wife birthdays or whatever. She's like, "Let's go to Disneyland," and I was fucking laughing at Disneyland because I was just watching people. And that's one of the reasons why I don't like it. Is you see all these fucking
Yeah.
people. Or I heard this lady, bro. This lady's like, "Where's the beer? I need to get this Modelo." Blah blah blah, and they're talking, and I'm fucking laughing, bro. I was like, "Bro, that was me." Like, I was trying to be
Hmm.
faded at all times. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
I heard a family member, "Oh, I'm gonna sneak this shit in and." I'm gonna be faded when we go in there, and then I'm just gonna be faded all fucking day long. And this shit's gonna carry, and I'm fucking laughing because I'm like, bro, that was me. And
Hmm.
it really didn't hit me until like I started journaling, and I was talking to a client. Client's like, oh yeah, I had a couple beers, blah blah blah, and I'm like, just imagine if you didn't do that, like just being fully
Right.
present. And that was what it was for me. And I just thanked my wife. I was like, hey, thank you. I'm glad we don't drink anymore. Because that was something, just being at Disneyland, watching these people, and I'm like, fuck, dude, I used to struggle with the same exact thing, not looking good,
Mhm.
worried about dumb shit, worried about fucking drinking. Oh, is this fool looking at me? What's up? You know what I mean? And it's like
Yeah.
they probably were just fucking looking or whatever. So now it's like I get that look from somebody, I start smiling. I'm like, hey, homie, how you doing, brother? How you doing? Blah blah.
Mhm.
And it's a different way of thinking to where before I was just more destructive in my own fucking head at all times, getting in bad situations. And that was something for me. It's like I kept attracting that shit because that's what I was and thought, hey, that's not what it is. Oh, it's just that's how I live. And it's like, nah, bro, you're attracting exactly what it is. So funny when you were saying that because I was at Disneyland the other day, and like I said, I was just really like soaking that shit in. And I was like, my wife was on a ride. She wanted to go ride real quick. So I'm with the kids. We got a 2-year-old, 10-month-old, and I'm fucking taking care of them while running the business. And we're right there. And I'm not checking the phone like I normally would and be trying to DM people. I'm just like, hey, whatever. So we're just sitting there and I'm like, listen to all these conversations. And then came back home, got some work done for the day, closed the deal. And it was funny because I used to just bitch about that. I used to be like, oh, I
Yeah.
have to do all this shit. Um, uh, Basically, my gist of it was, I was helping vets with their VA claims. The company, my nanny moved to Minnesota, excuse me, So I was holding my daughter, making sales calls. Company's like, hey, do you still want to be here? Is your heart here? I was like, yeah, I was just letting you know my situation, what's going on. I was already working 60 to 80 hours. So I quit that thinking that, hey, I'm going to be more present being home, and then started a business with a dude that was 7-figure guy that fell out. And what's funny is like the mindset there again, it went into alignment. The dude was more focused on his business than his family, and that's where he shifted to. And that was it for me. It's just being more present. And that was something for me. Every podcast I come on, I'm like, hey man, I got my kids in the
Mhm.
background. If you got a problem
Yeah.
with it, you can F off. I'm not gonna sit here and fucking bullshit you. Two, I'm not gonna sit here and fucking tell my kid to go away. Nah, like they will jump on the podcast if they really want to be here. I don't care.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that last part before we close it out, brother. When it comes to alignment, how important is it for you to keep those right people around you, but also elevate those connections, the people you have in your inner circle?
Yeah, bro. I mean, I'm sure you've heard it. If you hang around five smokers, you'll be the sixth, right? So it is about keeping that community. And bro, I really don't hang out with a lot of people. I'm real not careful with that, but it's just I'm about focusing on what I do, right? And not a lot of people are into that. Not a lot of people are into their fitness, going to bed, at a decent time to wake up for the next day to attack it. So I got to make sure that the people that I'm around, they're vibing and they're also providing value for me as well, right? But
Mhm.
I also want to provide that outlet for those negative people as well, because I feel that I'm at a point now where I really don't let a lot of negativity affect me in a way, because I separate myself from that. I have compassion for people and I understand that when somebody's negative, or when somebody's maybe mouthing off at you, or disrespecting you in some form, it's really having a lot to do with them versus to do with you. So I've been able to switch my mindset over to that and just be like, wow, like I wonder what they're struggling with to cause them to act this way. And that's what I see now with people that are drinking. If I walk into a restaurant and I see a guy thrash and just like stumbling out the door, my first initial thought is like, I wonder what he's going through to cause him to get that plastered to where he doesn't even want to be that person anymore, right? Because that's what we're doing. We're drinking to forget about our real self. And there's something there that we don't like about ourselves that we're using this alcohol to mask. And that's what I automatically go to. It's like, man, what is this guy going through? Um, to be to want to get so drunk that he doesn't even remember the night. So it's about opening that door too for people and allowing them to see your life. And a lot of people say like, if you're negative, stay away from me, right? I don't want you around me. I get that. You don't want people to ruin your peace and your energy. I get that. But what if we were to think so highly of ourselves and we come from an abundant state where I'm so positive, it flows through me. I'm never lacking any of this stuff, that I can give some away and I'll still be okay, but I'm going to help you. I'm going to bring you up with me, right? You're not going to bring me down to your level. I'm going to bring you up to my level and hopefully help you see what you're doing. So I do want to, and I go back to, I'm a Christian, I believe in Jesus and stuff. That's what Jesus did, right? Jesus hung around sinners, he hung around prostitutes, he hung around people that were drunk, he hung around murderers. Why? Because he was trying to show them what is possible if you could change your life. Like you're going to be forgiven. You know what I mean? And everybody has the opportunity to do that. So I don't like to close my door on certain people. And if certain people want to ask me, hey, let's go out drinking, I'll flip it. I'll be like, all right, hey, I'm not gonna go drink, but you want to come to the gym with me tomorrow? Let's go to the gym at 8 in the morning. I'll see you there. Right. So I flip that script on them to a positive thing. Yeah, I'm cool with hanging out with you, but we're gonna do something positive. We're not gonna go drink. You know what I mean? So it is important to keep your circle, nice and strong, and making sure, especially with the family, bro, you have to be very careful who you let around your family. You know what I mean? If you're letting people that are not good for you and not good for the family, that's going to affect everybody else around you. So me as a father, I'm a protector, I'm a provider, right? So that means I have to protect and provide for them with the right amount of energy and the right amount of people around them also. So yeah, brother, it's all about having that good energy, but at the same time, being able to have your boundaries, and where people also know, hey, this guy doesn't mess around. He's not going to go drink with me on this weekend, and he's going to, do this, he's going to do that. He has his protocol set up. That's what I want. You know what I mean? And hopefully I inspire those people to want to change. But there's going to be haters, right? There's going to be people that are like, oh, you're too good for me. And I got that a lot from my family, right? Whenever I started
Mhm.
making the changes, a lot of my cousins, oh, you think you're all good now because you're trying to get sober and you're getting in shape, you know what I mean? Like, and they try to remind you, remember that one time at, this party where you got so drunk? Da, da, da. I'm like, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, that was a long time ago, bro. You still on that or what? Like, move on now. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
but yeah, it's all about keeping that circle and making sure that you have those right people around you, big time.
That again, bro, that's huge. And that was something for me this year. December, December 31st, 2022, my wife was gonna leave me. And it was funny is again, we're talking about alignment. I was going to Powerhouse at that time. And it was funny is that gym was
Mhm.
closed on fucking New Year. So I was pissed off and I was just like walked home. So 4 miles there, 4 miles back, all pissed off. I was like, I can't go to the fucking gym, and it was just again negative outlet, bad place. This year, 2 in the morning, I'm at Metroflex working out and I'm like, dude, this is fucking amazing. A couple people in there fucking working out 2 a.m. Everybody's hungover. I'm looking at stories. I'm laughing. So I'm like, bro, that used to be
Mhm.
me. And it didn't
Yeah,
hit me till one of my buddies is a bodybuilder. And he was like, he came over to my house and he's like, all right, we're going to Metroflex at 8 tomorrow. And I'm like, cool. But I go to the gym at 3 or 4. So let's go earlier. He's like, nah. I was like, fuck it. I'll go twice. So by the time 8 rolls around, he's half asleep. And he's like, how you doing? I'm like, oh, I hit legs this morning. What you want to do now? And he's like looking at me like, how are you going again? And I'm like, oh, fuck it, dude. Let's get this other workout in. And I'm like, you wanted to play
yeah,
what you wanted to do, sleep in. He went out the night before. I was like, that's cool. Now let's go to the gym. So got a second
mhm,
workout in. And that was something for me where it was like, I used to be that so close-minded where I'd be like, nah, stay away from me. Now it's more of, hey, if you're going to be here, this is what we're doing. If not, I'm going to pray for you, but I'm going to focus on putting that good energy out, being better that I can be. Cause again, those vices, everything, it's so easy to go back to who we were and back to the bullshit if we're not on
yeah.
that plan. So I love the way you said that, bro. You've been an amazing fucking guest here. I'll wrap it up with the last question I ask everybody. What would you say to our old version of ourselves? We're looking to recalibrate our mindset. We don't know where to start. We just want to align ourselves with our definition of success.
You got to just start, man. So many people are behind the computer researching, right? What's the best way to do this? What's the best approach for this? You're going to get confused and then you're never going to start, right? So, all that energy that you're putting into that, you could already been a month in. And I hear this a lot of times, man. I've been researching how to stop drinking, how to eat right. How long you been doing that for? Like 2 or 3 weeks? Bro, you could already been down like 10 pounds if you would have just started watching what you're eating, tracking your food, and doing it, right? So, how do you learn how to drive a car? You can't drive a parked car. You have to actually put your foot on that gas pedal and go. And it's scary at first, but then you get the hang of it. Next thing you know, you're changing the radio, you're eating, you're talking on the phone, you're texting while driving, right? Because what did you do first? You just started doing it and then you learned as you go. So that's what I tell people all the time, man. My old self, I was a procrastinator. I was waiting for that perfect time. Well, when this happens, then I'll start. Or when my wife starts to, want to be healthy with me, then I'll start this. No, especially men, you guys are the leaders. You guys have to start everything first. Don't wait for anybody because what you're going to do is you're going to allow them to have that safe spot to also start. And if you make mistakes, oh, wow, now you've learned how to deal with that, navigate around that, and then show other people what works, what doesn't work. So that'd be the biggest thing for me. I think a lot of people just procrastinate. They're waiting for that perfect time. There is none. That time is now, right? And if you don't start now, more than likely you're probably never going to do it.
Boom. You hit another
Yeah.
money again. And what's funny is we used to be those people. So that's why it's so easy
Yeah.
to talk about
That's
that
how I
and
know.
to click
Yeah.
it.
And that's what I tell people, bro. Everybody's like, dude, it's like you're talking to me. I'm like, it's because I'm talking to myself. And we all deal with the
Yep.
same stuff. Maybe it's just a little bit different, but I lost my wife too. I lost my 4 kids too due to alcohol. So I know the route that it leads you to if you just continue going down that path. You know what I mean? And I think that's what separates us, or what makes us different from other people is we've gone through this stuff. So I haven't always been in shape. I haven't always been sober. So I could really resonate with people that are overweight, dealing with vices, having marital issues, because that was me. You know what I mean? So everything that I speak through, man, is just personal experience.
I love when people say that shit, dude. Is like, just to close it out here, I love when people say that and they talk about that shit and they're like, oh, well, you don't get it. And I'm like, Nah, I do fucking get it, bro. I've had friends that fucking were supposed to go to my house that night, motherfuckers died. Or I was in
Mhm.
St. Louis and I was like, oh, I'm at an event. I'm gonna help out over here. My life's getting good. The old shit's behind me. One of my boys died at a drive-by the day before I went out there, So it was just
Mhm.
like being present, being in the moment, being like, hey, this is what it is. So I love when people say that. Oh, there is tomorrow I'm gonna do this. I'm like, nah, bro, there is no fucking tomorrow. Like, it's what
Yeah.
time is it right now? You still got how many hours? Go to sleep later,
Mhm.
go to the gym tonight. They're like, why are you telling me go to the gym at 10 p.m.? Like, it's the difference is hey, you're gonna get started today, we're gonna get started tomorrow, but you figure it
Yeah.
out because tomorrow's never gonna happen, or tomorrow something's gonna pop up once you do today. And literally, I've been doing that lately, switching my times on purpose to go to the gym because we've been sick. So instead of going in the morning, I'm going at night, and I'm like, hey, the reason why I'm doing that is to fix it with the schedule. And two, it's like, hey, we don't miss regardless because we do that every
Right.
single day. So it really doesn't matter what time you do it, get it in. Focus on what you have
Mhm.
to do. In this case, I'm doing it strategically because I understand we're sick. Shit's going on. We're up all the middle of the night. I'm not sleeping my 4 hours. So I'm going to prioritize sleep because I'm not feeling good either. And then we're going to get this shit in. And it's funny. It's like
Yeah.
people start catching on. So I appreciate you, bro. I know definitely we'll do a round two in person. So thank you again, brother. Where can people find you, man, if they want to keep up with you?
So I do have a website. It's warpathfit.com. You guys can go on there, check it out. I do have an Instagram as well. That's where I interact with a lot of people, message everybody. I run my whole page. So it's warpath.fit on IG. And then I'm going to be starting on YouTube soon. So whenever that pops off, it's out there, the Warpath Fitness channel, but I still got to start uploading more stuff on there. But that's coming soon. But those are the three platforms that you can find me. Reach out to me. Like I said, man, I'm very personable. I love talking to people. So shoot me a DM, even if it's just some advice, man. How do I stop drinking? How do I do this? How do I would love to help you. That's what I'm here for.
Hell yeah, brother. We'll definitely send people your way. Thank you again, brother. It was an honor.
Thank you, brother. Likewise.